The Olympic spotlight is meant to capture grace, precision, and moments of pure human triumph. But for some in the world of figure skating, it has also cast long, haunting shadows. Behind the glittering costumes and flawless routines lies a sport where athletes push their bodies to the absolute limit, often skating on the edge of danger. From sudden collapses to catastrophic accidents, these devastating deaths didn't just end brilliant careers, they left lasting scars on the sport itself, reminding fans that even in the most beautiful performances, risk is never far behind.
Olympic figure skater Ekaterina Alexandrovskaya has passed away at the age of 20. The International Skating Union confirmed the Olympic athlete's death over the weekend, stating in a message on their website.
She was only 20 years old, an Olympian, a champion, a name that once echoed with promise across the ice, and then suddenly, heartbreak. Ekaterina Alexandrovskaya wasn't just another skater chasing medals. She was rewriting history. Born in Moscow on January 1, 2000, she stepped onto the ice at just 4 years old, a child with quiet determination and something special in her movements. But behind that early passion was a life already marked by loss. When her father died in 2015, the world shifted beneath her feet, but she didn't stop. If anything, she pushed harder. Her journey took an unexpected turn when she was paired with Harley Windsor, forming a partnership that would soon capture global attention. Together, they weren't just good, they were groundbreaking. In 2017, they made history, becoming the first Australian pair to win gold at the World Junior Championships. It was the kind of moment athletes dream of, the kind that feels like the beginning of something unstoppable. And for a while, it was. They climbed podiums, earned international medals, and carried the weight of an entire country's expectations into the 2018 Winter Olympics. Just being there was historic. Australia hadn't seen a pair team on that stage in decades, but the Olympic spotlight is unforgiving. They placed 18th in the short program, falling short of the final. To the world, it was just a result. To an athlete, it can feel like everything, because what people don't see is what comes after. The injuries, the exhaustion, the silence when the applause fades. Behind the scenes, things were beginning to unravel. Training moves didn't go as planned. Performances slipped. Her partner battled chronic injuries. Ekaterina herself was struggling too, physically and mentally. In early 2020, everything came crashing down when she suffered an epileptic seizure. It forced her into an early retirement, cutting short a career that had barely begun to peak. And just like that, the ice was gone. For someone who had spent her entire life chasing perfection on frozen ground, the absence of it can feel like falling into nothing. Reports later revealed she had been battling depression, quietly, away from the cameras and medals. The pressure, the expectations, the sudden loss of identity, it all began to close in. Then came July 18th, 2020, a date that no one in the skating world will ever forget. Ekaterina Alexandrovskaya died after falling from the window of her Moscow home in what was reported as a suicide. She left behind a single word in a note, "Lublyu," I love. That was it. No long explanation, no final speech, just 2 words that somehow made the silence even louder. Her story didn't end on the ice. It ended in a way that forced the entire sports world to confront something it had long ignored. Because behind every routine, every medal, every Olympic dream, there's a human being carrying invisible weight. In 2022, the documentary Harley and Katya revisited her journey, peeling back the layers of a partnership filled with ambition, pressure, and unspoken struggles. It reminded audiences of what was lost, not just a skater, but a young woman still trying to find her place beyond the sport that defined her. And maybe that's what makes her story so devastating. Not just how it ended, but how much she was still becoming. Chris Reed was only 30 years old, an Olympian, a national champion, a familiar face in a sport built on endurance, precision, and quiet resilience. For years, he had lived the life most athletes dream of, competing at the highest level, representing Japan on the world stage, and carrying a legacy that stretched far beyond medals. Born in Michigan but proudly skating for Japan, Chris wasn't just one athlete. He was part of a family bound by the ice. Alongside his sister Kathy Reed, he built something rare, a partnership rooted in trust, timing, and years of shared sacrifice. Together, they became 7-time national champions, stepping onto Olympic ice at both the 2010 Winter Olympics and the 2014 Winter Olympics. They weren't always at the top of the podium, but they were always there, fighting, pushing, enduring, because that's what people don't always see. The surgeries, the injuries, the months off the ice, rebuilding strength from nothing. Chris had torn ligaments, undergone knee surgeries, and still came back, again and again. The kind of resilience that earns respect, but also, quietly, takes its toll. When that chapter closed, he didn't walk away. He kept going. With Kana Muramoto, he found a new rhythm, a second act. Together, they climbed back into the spotlight, winning medals, qualifying for the 2018 Winter Olympics, and proving that his story wasn't finished yet. Even after setbacks, even after splits and uncertainty, Chris carried one belief: he wasn't done. And for a while, it seemed like he wasn't. At the end of 2019, he finally announced his retirement, not out of defeat, but with the quiet confidence of someone who had given everything. His body had endured years of elite competition. His mind had carried the pressure of representing a nation. Now, it was supposed to be time to breathe, to live beyond the ice. But just months later, everything stopped. On March 14, 2020, Chris Reed died suddenly in Detroit from cardiac arrest. No warning, no final performance, no goodbye. 3 days later, the news reached the world. His sister, his partner in so many of life's biggest moments, shared it publicly. And just like that, the skating community was left in shock. Because this wasn't supposed to happen. Not to someone still so young. Not to someone who had spent his life in peak physical condition. And that's the part that lingers. Because if an Olympian, someone who trains, sacrifices, and pushes their body to its limits, can be taken without warning, what does that say about the hidden strain they carry? Behind the elegance of ice dancing is a relentless grind. Endless training. Physical punishment masked by grace. The expectation to perform, even when the body is breaking. Chris Reed lived that life fully, and in the end, his passing became more than just a tragedy. It became a wake-up call, a reminder that even the strongest athletes aren't invincible, that sometimes the greatest battles aren't the ones we see under bright lights, but the ones happening silently, within. At his memorial, streamed for the world to see, Kathy's words cut through the silence. She missed his voice, his smile, the simple act of holding his hand. And maybe that's what stays with you. Not the medals, not the rankings, but the sudden, unbearable absence of someone who was supposed to have so much more time.
A Kazakh figure skater of Korean descent and former Olympic bronze medalist died after being stabbed by carjackers. Denis Ten was just 25 years old, a descendant of a national hero.
He survived the pressure of the Olympics. He carried a nation on his back. He turned impossible dreams into history. And yet, he didn't survive a random moment on an ordinary street. Denis Ten was more than just a skater. He was a symbol. Born in Almaty, Kazakhstan, he grew up in a country where figure skating barely existed on the global stage. But from the very beginning, there was something different about him. He wasn't just chasing medals. He was building a legacy from nothing. By the time he stepped onto the ice at the 2014 Winter Olympics, that legacy was already unfolding. And then came the moment that changed everything. His breathtaking performance that earned him a bronze medal, the first Olympic figure skating medal in Kazakhstan's history. Overnight, Denis Ten became a national hero, but he didn't stop there. He kept pushing boundaries, winning world medals, claiming the 4 continents title, and proving again and again that he belonged among the elite. Every jump, every spin, every performance carried not just his ambition, but the hopes of an entire country watching him rise. And outside the rink, he was just as driven. He created ice shows, mentored younger skaters, even stepped into roles that connected sport with culture and national pride. He wasn't just performing anymore, he was shaping the future of skating in Kazakhstan. Everything about his story felt like it was still building toward something bigger. Until July 19, 2018. It wasn't during training. It wasn't during competition. There were no cameras, no judges, no music playing in the background. Just a street in Almaty. That day, Denis confronted two men who were trying to steal the mirrors from his car. Something so small, so insignificant, worth barely anything. But in that split-second decision, everything changed. The confrontation turned violent. A blade was drawn, and suddenly, an Olympic medalist was fighting for his life. He was stabbed in the thigh, an injury that doesn't sound fatal at first, but the human body is fragile in ways we don't always understand. Within moments, he began losing blood fast, nearly 3 liters. Imagine that. An athlete who had trained his entire life to control every movement, every breath, now powerless against something he couldn't stop. He was rushed to the hospital. Doctors fought to save him. For hours there was hope, thin, desperate hope, but it wasn't enough. Denis Ten died at just 25 years old. And when the news broke, it didn't just shock the skating world, it stunned it into silence. Because this wasn't supposed to happen. Not like this. Not to someone so young, so talented, so full of life. Tributes poured in from everywhere. Olympians, fans, entire nations. Not just because of what he achieved, but because of who he was. Warm, driven, fearlessly dedicated. But underneath all of that, one truth lingered. Impossible to ignore. This wasn't a tragedy born from sport. It was something far more brutal, far more random. A life that survived the pressure of global competition, taken in a senseless act of violence over something as trivial as car parts. And maybe that's what makes Denis Ten's story so haunting. Because no matter how strong, how talented, how extraordinary someone is, some moments don't happen under bright lights. They happen in silence, and they change everything. Before the jumps got higher, before the sport became a battle of pure athleticism, there was a man who made the ice feel like a stage. John Curry didn't just skate, he performed. Every movement was deliberate, every line precise, every glide infused with something deeper than competition. He brought ballet to the ice at a time when figure skating was still finding its identity. And in doing so, he didn't just win. He transformed the sport forever. But his story was never simple. As a child in England, he dreamed of becoming a dancer. That was his first love. But that dream was shut down early, dismissed as something he wasn't allowed to pursue. So he found a compromise, figure skating. And somehow, he turned that compromise into something revolutionary. Then came loss. At just 16 years old, Curry's world shattered when his father died by suicide. It was the kind of moment that can break someone completely. But instead, he carried that pain with him, onto the ice, into his movement, into the very way he expressed himself. You could feel it in his skating even if you didn't know his story. By 1976, everything aligned. At the 1976 Winter Olympics, Curry delivered a performance that didn't just win gold, it stunned the world. Skating to Don Quixote, he blended athletic precision with artistic purity in a way no one had seen before. Judges rewarded him with near-perfect scores. Audiences didn't just applaud, they watched in awe. That year, he didn't just win Olympic gold, he won everything. European, world, and Olympic titles, completing a rare Grand Slam in figure skating. For a moment, he stood at the very top of the sport, untouchable. But even at his peak, there were battles no one could see. Curry was one of the first openly gay athletes in global sport, a reality that, at the time, brought intense scrutiny and quiet isolation. The spotlight that celebrated his talent also exposed parts of his life he wasn't always ready to defend. Still, he stood firm, continuing to create, to perform, to push boundaries beyond competition. After retiring, he didn't leave the ice behind. He reshaped it again, building skating companies that mirrored ballet troupes, creating performances that demanded not just skill, but artistry at the highest level. He wasn't just an athlete anymore. He was an architect of something bigger. And then, slowly, everything began to fade. In the late 1980s, Curry was diagnosed with HIV. At a time when the disease carried fear, stigma, and very little understanding, it was almost a silent sentence. Years later, it progressed to AIDS. The same man who once moved so effortlessly across the ice now faced a battle his body couldn't out-train. There were no judges this time, no audience, no music guiding his movements, just time. By the early 1990s, his health had deteriorated. The strength, the control, the elegance that once defined him gradually slipping away. And yet, even in those final years, there was a quiet resilience in him, a refusal to let the disease define everything he had been. On April 15, 1994, John Curry died at the age of 44 from an AIDS-related heart attack. And just like that, one of the greatest artists the sport had ever seen was gone. But his impact didn't disappear with him. Every time you watch a skater glide with grace, every time artistry feels just as important as athleticism, you're seeing echoes of John Curry, because he didn't just compete in figure skating, he changed what it meant. And maybe that's what makes his story so powerful and so devastating at the same time. He gave the sport beauty, and in the end the world watched as that same brilliance was taken far too soon. Just 10 days before everything ended, she was smiling from the cover of a magazine. Not just any magazine, but one that rarely gave space to figure skating at all. And yet, there she was, 16 years old, staring back at the world with calm confidence, introduced as America's most exciting girl skater. It didn't feel like hype, it felt like certainty. Lawrence Owen wasn't just talented, she was next. The kind of athlete people talk about before the medals even arrive. The kind of presence that makes you stop and think we're watching the beginning of something special. She had already stepped onto Olympic ice at the 1960 Winter Olympics, the youngest American woman in the field, and somehow she didn't look overwhelmed. She looked ready. Her skating carried a quiet elegance, a maturity far beyond her years, as if she already understood the weight of the moment and embraced it. By 1961, that promise was turning into reality. She was the reigning U.S. champion, a rising international contender, a name judges were beginning to recognize and remember. Coaches spoke about her discipline. Commentators praised her musicality. Fans saw something harder to define, something magnetic. It felt like everything was aligning. And then came February 15th, 1961, a flight, a team, a journey to the World Figure Skating Championships in Prague, where she wasn't just expected to compete but to challenge for gold. The next step, the next chapter, the moment where promise becomes proof. She boarded Sabina Flight 548 crash alongside her teammates, her coaches, and her mother. Because this wasn't just an athlete chasing greatness. This was a story woven through family. Her mother, Maribel Vinson Owen, had once been a champion herself, a towering figure in American skating. She had taught Lawrence everything, from her first steps on the ice to the edge work that made her glide seem effortless. Together, they weren't just mother and daughter, they were past and future traveling side by side, a legacy in motion. And then suddenly, silence. The plane never reached its destination. In a single, devastating moment, the entire U.S. figure skating team was gone. Careers ended before they could peak. Stories cut off mid-sentence. Futures erased without warning. But Lawrence Owen's loss felt different. Maybe because the world had just seen her, just begun to believe in her, just started to imagine what she would become. That magazine cover, the one that once felt like a beginning, became something else entirely. A frozen moment. Forever 16. Forever rising. Forever almost. People still ask the questions no one can answer. Would she have become a world champion? An Olympic medalist in 1964? The face of a new era in American skating? There's no statistic, no record book, no investigation that can measure that kind of loss. Because what disappeared that day wasn't just a life. It was inevitability. Teammates would later remember her not just for her talent, but for her kindness, the way she encouraged others, the way she carried herself with quiet grace off the ice. She wasn't just building a career, she was becoming someone people believed in, and that's what makes it linger. Decades later, her name still echoes through the sport, not because of how long her resume was, but because of how close she stood to something greater. The footage still exists, the headlines are still archived, that cover still survives, but the applause that was meant to follow her never came.